This is a place where vapour rises, here in the quiet, in the sizzle and the crack. I've such an ache down my left side, such a hurt where the wet gets in. This is how a body comes to know the way of the slow crawl into careful, cultivated shadow. My sides gnawed upon, my edges worn away. I'm being ever lessened by the hurtful properties laying latent in the air. This air. Yes, this air that settles in your chest without complaint. It holds for me all manner of ouch. Brings out in me a propensity for detriment and for slippery harm. Such a pain. Such an ache and no sign of it ending. Such a soreness and only the sound of only the careful light of I can't say it. I can't name it. Better to tell you about this cool, dark chamber that rings with the sound of footsteps and has always about it a cold water feel. Cold air run like water down the back, down the stippled length of the spine. Such a slow tear, such a slowness to this ever-opening wound. No stoppering scab, no natural seal to clot and keep me whole. I live in that moment of initial, constant fracture. I am a pair of shoulders hunching. I am membrane worn to lace and pretty perforation, worn through and still learning new ways to keep out the light. I am a thing that was once kept close, and so I know about heat and skin. I'm still carrying the tremor of the man who held me. I'm still carrying the shake that lived in his hands and the crescent muscle of his strong arm. Strong still, but unable to bear any weight, without leaning heavily on tabletop, on counter or doorframe. He had that shake that comes from being too close to a terrible noise. I remember the noise that birthed the shake. It was so loud, it seemed to come from his own heart. Certain frights won't fade. They get inside you when you get close to things that have been shattered, that have been made to break. And where do the bullets go? The ones that coast through flesh. The ones that come out the other side of a person and land crippled and squat in the divots of the cobblestones, the cracks and holes, worn into the much trodden ground. They make people stumble later. Later, when they tinkle under footfall. A little bit of music in the smoky hush of the street. I know things about heat and skin, but I also saw the things that held too much fire or glare, the things that would harm the soft white of human eyes. I sat in a room that was burning and felt the heat undo my boundary line. Patterns that were once diamonds, once ovals, made slack. I took a bullet into my centre and flaked around it, split around it, fashioned for it a crevice, a place for it to hide. I shielded the wettening creases of a forehead, a brow collapsing. Atop a man's head, I shielded his brow as he made for the toppled bench that seemed just then a place of shelter. Crouch and wait. Wait and crouch. And then bursting. The sound of the burst and the splatter and droplet wash, bathed in carmine flecks, the crimson pattern moving through the air that is the aftermath of someone's heart. Some man has just now given up his heart to the street. And what'll keep but this browning stain, this felt and its lining slumped about his head, his quiet head. Wilted and heavy and heaving, a sopping bruise that points where I pucker, where I suppurate, looking more like skin than cloth. Weathered and buckled and carrying all this old wet, years and years of wet that gives no sign of leaving me. Fibres and string pulled close in this sodden embrace. What's that sound? Footsteps come again to deliver me into careful light. If only I could scratch my back against this smooth, cool wall, because this is the place I keep on living, this close space where I've learned all one could ever know about footfall. Cordial, thick is the cold of this cupboard that keeps me safe from my own self, my own propensity toward demise, this fractal slipping into the dark. That is my material decay, a creeping I undertake without hands, a belly crawl, so that I think, despite myself and all the things I know. What is happening to me? What word is there for this slow death? My lifelong death, a lifetime spent dying, come close to complete decay. If too many hushed moments go by, there comes a reminder to bleed and ache and hurt. And if I rush too speedily into the gloom, there comes a reminder to pause and simmer. Across my belly and my back, a whole climate, a spectrum of dappled corrosion that defies reason, defies the human eye. It is so layered and spectacular, full of trickle and burst, ripe with perforate and bloom, and yet all it is wear and tear. Footsteps. Nearing. Footsteps making loud this metal room. The up and down of a heel on the ground that tells me I'll soon be bathed in electric light, and hands will read my symptoms, will read the length and breadth of me. Cradling, cupping hands that'll read my crumble and fade. No more bands of colour that sparkle like a winking eye, just creaking strips of one-time bright cloth, now brittle, now fading. No more dance and flap in the wind, just this crumbling, draped like a limp animal between cautious hands. And now, dry and flaking. If left to my own devices, I'd curl up like a leaf and sleep,